TC, Spiritual Shepherd. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be getting into autonomy. Autonomy and consent. These are two very powerful words that generally do not get enough, I would say, even game or enough acknowledgement within the knowledgeable realms of people who can comprehend and be able to use these words to begin with. Autonomy, or being autonomous, and consent or consensual action, meaning that you consent to something. So one big thing about this is that a lot of people are consenting to things that they don't want to consent to, as well as they don't have some form of autonomy when they truly might even project that they do have the autonomy or that they want the autonomy. So autonomy is just treading one's own path. So I have this tattoo, it's called Autonomous, and this was my very first tattoo, and this was actually something that I very much love. It's a custom tattoo. Nobody else has this type of tattoo, okay? And I love the word autonomous, and it means to tread one's own path. And a lot of people have one way of doing things, or a traditional way of doing things, or a specific way of doing things, and the autonomous being somebody who operates in their aboriginality, their originality, their individuality, or their autonomy. What they cultivate is something that is so powerful that most people cannot mimic them. They can try to mimic them, but they cannot even, like, they can copy your actions and they can copy your stuff, but they still can't copy your energy. And one big thing about autonomy as well is that I love the word autonomy is that by treading your own path, it also means that you are a trailblazer, that you are somebody who comes in and opens up your own path. So the thing is don't follow all the other paths that were given to you. Instead, tread your own path and leave a trail for the people who you know will resonate with the higher frequency that you are, as well as with individuality, with aboriginality, with being autonomous or living with autonomy. You have to realize that there are going to be other people who will try to speak their lives or their versions of you over you, because based on their perceptions, that's who you are. But that doesn't mean that that's actually who you are. Who you are is who you say you are. And who you say you are is giving consent, or also autonomy. So how you tread your own path is your own self, but we also give consent to people we give consent, therefore giving power of our autonomy over to other people. That's what I'm saying, guys, is like, you have to realize that you have your own autonomy, and by taking your power back, you guys have heard, by taking your power back, your spiritual power, your emotional power, your mindset power, your energy power, taking my energy back, all that stuff in the spiritual community that we've all talked about. The whole thing about this is what this really is it's taking your consent for your autonomy back. You have, no matter what, you have autonomy, which is you could tread your own path. You have free will to some degree, okay? And you have free will to go against you have free will to go against nature to some degree. That doesn't mean that you should do that. That just means that you can do that, okay? Now, one big thing is with consent or consensual action, which is consenting to specific things. So that means that you consent to your autonomy, you consent to your autonomous being, meaning that, okay, well, see, and that's what contracts are all connected to. Contracts are all connected to this, with soul contracts and even just physical contracts and stuff like this, that you are signing or you're consenting to your autonomy, whether somebody has autonomy over you, whether somebody has, this is your type of credit, this is your type of this is your credibility, this is what you have sworn, this is what you consent to. And that's why it's important to not sign as many contracts as you possibly can and consent to as many things as you can, because that actually preserves your autonomy. That preserves who you are as an autonomous being. And this is levels to stuff. So you don't have to always you don't have to consent to old paradigms. My biggest thing is I used to consent to old belief systems, to old traditions, to old paradigms that might fit some of my friends or some of my family members or other people, but that might not be what I consent to. Do I hate them for it? Absolutely not. Do I despise them for it? Absolutely not. Do I think of them a different way? Absolutely not. I just know that I'm going to write my own, I'm going to consent to my own autonomy, and this is what my autonomous being is choosing to trailblaze. Ultimately, this is the journey, this is the path that I'm choosing to operate in, this is the life purpose that I'm called to, this is the life dharma that I'm called to, this is what I feel God's purpose is of what I'm called to. And this cultivation is as you realize, okay, I can consent to this or not consent to this. By not consenting, you're also consenting to something else. By saying no to something, you're saying yes to something else. By saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. By saying yes to drugs, you're saying no to sobriety. By saying yes to sobriety, you're saying no to drugs. It's just an inherent. As you start to realize that those are extreme examples, but you can realize that when you say yes to a certain belief system, you're saying yes to a plentiful of certain things that are connected, not attached, but connected to that belief system electrically. But also by saying yes to that, you might be saying no to other specific types of belief systems or ways of that you believe. And so like that is a big thing. And so don't get it misconstrued, don't be confused about it, and don't think like because somebody believes differently or acts differently or looks differently than you are, doesn't mean that they are not in connection with their life's dharma, their life's purpose, their life's connection with the Most High, that their purpose is ultimately called to for them, that they are meant to fulfill. And the whole thing is that we always have maybe not a problem, but we always like to speak for other people's purposes, like, oh, you should do this, or you should act like this, or I think that from my perspective you should do this. I think from my perspective that's a great thing. Like when people say, oh, that's the way I see it, or that's my belief system, or this is the way that I see it from my perspective, I think that that's already a great place to be. Because a lot of people say you should do this, you should do this. And I don't really necessarily vibe with you should. I think you should is a very projective type of energy. And I think that a lot of people have their own versions of what our purpose should be. And a lot of people have their own versions of what our lives should be, or what our 100 years should be, or 75 years should be, or whatever, and how we should live our lives, how we should pray, how we should operate our lives, what food we should eat, where we should live, what car we should drive, what relationship we should be in or not be in, and all this type of stuff. And I think that it's important that those are not your decisions. Those are only your decisions for your life, and you can totally give that option to your family, specifically your kids. You can give that option to your kids, but if you project onto them, this is how you should believe, this is how you should believe, you are going to run them away from that belief system, because they want open autonomy and consent of their autonomy to be able to choose, okay, with free will. They want to be willingly, freely, willingly, I think it's important to give them the willingly or the free willingness to be able to choose their own reality and to be able to choose what you said they should do. And I think that that is a very important aspect of adulthood and parentship, I guess you could say, and even just relationships in general. You don't ever want to like forcefully make someone believe a certain way or act a certain way. You want to give them the opportunity to act that way. And if they don't act that way, then that's also considered boundaries, where you say, okay, well, maybe this person just isn't for me. Maybe this person isn't supposed to be around me. Maybe this person isn't supposed to be in my life experience. They're just a journey friend. They're just somebody who's supposed to, be in and out of my life to some degree and teach me specific lessons and tests and stuff like this. And I can evolve from the lessons that I've learned. Now, if you guys like stuff like this, allow it to be. And the thing is allow life to be. If you guys are interested in stuff like this, feel free to reach out. I do personal coaching with you guys, help you guys up-level your life, multiple streams of income, get you guys multiple streams of income, get your body in check, get your emotions in check, get you that relationship that you've always wanted, and cultivate the spirituality that you've always really wanted to cultivate. If you guys are interested in this, I do personal consultation. Let me know if you guys, everything's in the description for you guys. Peace, much love, namaste.